So when I think of the word pivot, I think of stopping, I would say reflecting, and then after that, taking a different direction. So a change in direction of some kind.
I totally agree with you that when we look at the definition with the pivoting is really to change direction. I think I would look at as a tool now, or a way now for us to really look at the way we imagined the business a while ago, and also maybe how we can reinvent ourselves as a company, and also how we can take full advantage of the talent that we have. And so that would what we would do is that look at the growth of the company, not the switch in the direction, but more as how can we pivot to even grow the company even more than that.
When you look at what's been going on lately, I think you can completely see that some business owners were ready, and then others were completely left in the dark. And to a certain degree, were like shut down. You know, their businesses ceased operations, and they were scrambling to figure out what to do. So the ones that were ready, I think it's because they were ready obviously from a digital transformation standpoint. And that's when we started to see, you know, the light being shined a little bit on the communications aspect, on the contact center aspect. So the ones that were up and running, that had a web presence, that had the ability to communicate with their customers, that had the ability to send people to work from home, all those businesses were able to pivot and were able to react quickly and be able to serve their customers. Maybe they had to deal with a higher volume or whatever it was, but at the end of the day, they were able to answer calls, respond to emails, chat on the internet, whatever it is that they were able to do, they were still be able to maintain that. I even saw it with a local grocer here, compared to some other grocers. So we had one grocer, it was completely shut down. I mean, they had a somewhat of a web presence, but it didn't really reflect what they really have in their store and all that. But you could see other grocers were completely ready to serve their customers, you know, and we're talking about a basic necessity here, food, you know.
Essentially, Quovim C3 was the merge between Adele Solutions and Quovim Solutions Quovim.
True.
And both of these companies were founded back in 2008, 2009, right in the middle of the crisis. I don't want to compare ourselves to Airbnb or Uber at the moment, but I would say that we were there, okay, so to start a new business when we saw opportunities, again, going back to the, at the time we were talking about the merging the different type of communication. So there was call center technology at the time. That was the era of the call center technology, and then we started to talk about merging those the other communication. At the time was mainly the email. Suddenly it became also the chat. So we kind of like saw that coming up, and we built the business on these premises.
You really saw the evolution, Pierre, because you saw the older legacy hardware, technician with a tool belt, phone system in the closet, or the big white elephant that you would see in massive server rooms. And my background was a bit different because I came from a software background, a whole bunch of applications and everything. So the software world is what I kind of grew up in, if you want. But when in 2008, when I launched Adele, just before we joined together and created Quovim, about four or 5 years later, at the time, it was that merger that was going on, right? So this legacy phone systems, legacy contact center solutions were becoming software based. So for me, it was I jumped right into it at that time, and it just made perfect sense to me, because I saw the growth potential of this huge legacy hardware based environment, closed environment, very much silo environment, becoming open architecture, open integrations, and things like that. And so that was the big shift that I saw. And it's funny because that technology that 15 years ago is what is today, allowing companies to remain open, because that was essentially the foundation of the work at home agents, or the work from home. Other than that, you had to have hardwired phone lines installed at home, and you had to have, your server-based kind of connection to the office and all that, and it was painful. So can you imagine if what we just went through happened 15, 20 years ago? It would have been a complete disaster from a communication standpoint. So the technology that we have today and the things that we're doing today from a multi-communications aspect and a multi-channel aspect is what allows companies to remain open. So
okay, if I may add, because just going back to the question in terms of innovation during these difficult times, obviously we see ourselves, we are an integrator. Okay, we are business partner with the companies in the market, with North American companies, and we have to see ourselves really as we are integrators. The first priority for us before innovation was to make sure that we could serve our customer well and they could still be operating. That was the key item for us. I'm very proud that the team took care of that and making sure that our customer was still operating and we're still being efficient. Then after, what's up? So as an integrator, I don't think we're going to start developing product, okay? And then when you talk the concept of innovation, starting to have like a bunch of developers. In our case, what we have to look is, okay, what are those software, okay, in the cloud mainly, or in prem, or a mix of those, and how can we build, okay, or think about solutions, okay, for our customer base to help them to meet, as a matter of fact, those objectives. And that's really when we think about innovation at Quovim, is really first the innovation in getting a better knowledge of the new technologies or the new customer experience, and then after that, how can we take those software in the cloud, make it available to our customer base, and implement that, and trying to reduce that time to market for our customer. So that's the way I see innovation within Quovim, and in light of that, we're going to be having some brainstorming session with our employee internally. We'll spend the time to think about, okay, what else can we offer in the market to our customers?